When Group B's doors opened in 1982, Audi didn't walk through them carrying a new idea. It walked in carrying a system it had already spent years developing, quietly, methodically, for exactly this kind of moment. That system was Quattro, permanent all-wheel drive, and the sport had absolutely no idea what it was about to do to them. Audi had actually debuted Quattro technology 2 years earlier, in 1980, on a rally car competing under the old Group 4 regulations, and even then, rivals had struggled to understand what they were watching. On loose gravel and snow, surfaces where traction is everything and where two-wheel drive cars have always had to fight for every inch of grip, an all-wheel drive car simply had access to a kind of control nothing else on the stage could match. It wasn't a small edge. It was a completely different relationship between engine power and the road beneath it. Group B gave Audi the perfect canvas to push that advantage even further. The Audi Quattro A1 and A2, and later the shortened, more aggressive Sport Quattro, paired that all-wheel drive system with an increasingly powerful turbocharged 5-cylinder engine, the same engineering lineage that would, just a few years later, go on to dominate American Trans Am racing in an entirely different form. Group B's loose regulations meant Audi could keep pushing that engine's output higher and higher, with power figures climbing well past 300 horsepower and continuing to grow year over year, all while Quattro kept putting nearly all of it down onto the road, on surfaces where rivals were still fighting for basic traction. The results on stage were immediate and, to rivals, genuinely alarming. Audi drivers were setting stage times that simply didn't make sense to two-wheel drive teams studying the timing sheets afterward. Hannu Mikkola drove the Quattro to the 1983 World Rally Championship Drivers' title, while Audi's engineering approach began forcing every serious manufacturer in the sport to ask the same uncomfortable question: could they survive in Group B without building an all-wheel drive car of their own? For rival manufacturers still committed to rear-wheel drive rally cars, cars that had been perfectly competitive just a season or two earlier, the writing was now unmistakably on the wall. The Lancia Rally 037 would go on to win the 1983 manufacturer's title, the last rear-wheel drive car ever to do so in the World Rally Championship, a genuine high point for traditional rally engineering, but also, in hindsight, its final one. Every major manufacturer watching from the sidelines understood that competing with Audi on Audi's terms, rear-wheel drive power alone, was no longer a viable path forward. Audi's early dominance had done more than win championships. It had redefined what a competitive rally car needed to be, and in doing so, it had lit the fuse on an engineering arms race that other manufacturers were now desperate to join, whatever the cost. Peugeot was already watching closely, and building something in response that would take the all-wheel drive concept even further than Audi had dared to yet.